Milk, nature's rich bounty, has nurtured humanity for millennia. It teems with wholesome fats, proteins, sugars, vitamins, and minerals. For medieval people, milk was both a staple food and lifeline, providing essential calories and nourishment, especially when crops failed or during harsh winters. Yet milk's bounty comes with fragility. Unprotected, fresh milk left at ambient temperatures can spoil within hours, turning sour, rancid, or harmful. In a world without electricity, refrigeration, or modern hygiene, preserving milk was no small feat. It was a matter of survival. How did medieval people, from peasants in rural villages to monks in fortified abbeys, extend milk's usable life from mere hours to weeks or months? The answer lies in a rich array of ancient techniques, harnessing the power of natural fermentation, transforming milk into cheeses and butters, applying salt and smoke, using the natural cold underground, and weaving preservation into daily life and culture. Medieval dairy preservation often began simply by allowing milk to turn. A modern reaction might be discussed, but medieval communities embraced souring as a first step in ensuring milk's survival. Fresh milk is alive. From the moment it is drawn from a cow, sheep, or goat, it contains a community of microscopic organisms, bacteria and yeasts, some beneficial, some potentially harmful. Left unstirred and uncooled, the milk's natural microbes flourish, consuming lactose, milk sugar, and producing lactic acid, which acidifies the milk and creates an environment hostile to pathogens. This sour milk, variously called clabber, buttermilk, or curds in different regions, was a prized staple. Unlike spoiled milk, clabber was safe, tangy, and probiotic-rich, aiding digestion in populations often lactose intolerant. Monks in monasteries, shepherds in alpine valleys, and peasants alike drank naturally fermented milk or used it to create other products. Each community developed unique starter cultures, wild bacteria transmitted via wooden churns, cloth-straining bags, or even residual microbes from prior batches, establishing consistent flavors and preservation profiles. This living milk was often consumed fresh or within days. Though no longer sweet, it still delivered vital calories and sustained intestinal health, long before science understood probiotics. In England, sour milk was so valued, it formed a monetary commodity at times, cited in manorial accounts. Northern European cultures fermented milk into drinks similar to modern kefir, rich in carbon dioxide and flavor complexity. Fermentation became an everyday transformation, ecologically smart, naturally safe. It's likely that in many homes, milk was never truly fresh, but always intentionally soured to prolong utility. Cheese is history's most enduring dairy preservation technique. It converts fragile liquid into solid form, concentrating nutrients and extending edibility dramatically. Basic process. Milk was heated gently and combined with rennet, an enzymatic extract from calf stomachs. Rennet curdled milk, separating it into curds, protein and fat solids, and whey, liquid. The curds were pressed into molds, salted, and left to mature in cellars or caves. Salt was the preservative hero. Salt inhibits the growth of harmful microbes, draws moisture from curds, and encourages desirable bacteria responsible for maturation. The thicker the salt layer and the drier the cheese, the longer it could be stored. Cheese functioned on many levels, as a nutrient-dense protein source, a portable food, and a tradable commodity. Large wheels of hard cheese, looking similar to aged Parmigiano Reggiano or cheddar today, could last months or years. Medieval records from monasteries such as those in the Alps and England indicate annual cheese production timed to pastoral cycles, ensuring ample winter and lean season stockpiles. The complexity of cheese types was enormous, from simple fresh cheeses consumed quickly to complex aged varieties, each with unique rinds formed by natural flora and environmental interactions. Some cheeses bore religious symbolism through patterns stamped on rinds, reflecting monastic pride and identity. In Scotland, Norway, and Sweden, cold caves were natural refrigerators. Cheeses stored underground kept cool and inhospitable to spoilage organisms. Cellars with stone walls, thick earth, and controlled humidity were essential food preservation centers in medieval estates. Mountain communities excelled in alpine cheese traditions, creating highly durable forms suitable for long journeys and winter stores. Butter was both a culinary luxury and indispensable energy source. Fresh butter contains substantial water content, making it vulnerable to microbial growth and rancidity. Medieval people extended butter's shelf life primarily through salting. Salted butter resists bacterial activity, extending usability dramatically. Monks and nobles produced butter in quantity, carefully salting and storing it in wooden tubs or stoneware crocks. Cloth or wooden lids helped seal butter against contaminants. Salt had cost and availability implications. Where salt was scarce or expensive, butter storage was more limited. In cooler climates, butter's physical preservation was aided by natural refrigeration. Stone cellars, wells, and submerged containers kept butter firm in summer and slow to spoil in winter. Families shaped butter into thick pats, balls, or blocks, often wrapped in linens soaked with brine or herbs. This wrapping added a microbial defense and limited oxidation. Butter was essential not only for cooking and eating, but for ritual purposes, used in lighting, medicinal concoctions, and religious ceremonies. Maintaining a winter store of butter was a sign of household wellness and good fortune. Medieval technology adapted to the environment to harness natural refrigeration for dairy. Cellars and caves. Subterranean cellars maintained a near-constant cool temperature year-round. Stone-lined or earthen cellars acted as insulated chambers, critically reducing temperature swings that accelerate spoilage. Some estates boasted specialized dairy cooling rooms with thick walls, airflow control, and drainage to prevent humidity buildup. Springs and wells, dairy containers, milk, butter, sometimes even cheese, were placed in cold spring water or well shafts to maintain freshness. These flowing water bodies acted as a natural thermostat, cooling without freezing and flushing away surface microbial growth. Snow and ice. In Northern Europe, stored snow and ice held cold in specially constructed pits or insulated pits lined with straw and moss. This primitive refrigeration extended fresh milk life during seasonal shortages. This remarkable integration of natural cooling systems allowed dairy to be preserved beyond the few hours that ambient storage permitted, effectively bridging the gap before cheese or fermentation transformed the milk further. Salt was a universally prized preservative, but used carefully. Salting butter, cheese, or even tubs. Storing milk created osmotic pressure that inhibited harmful microbes. Salt mixed with herbs, such as rosemary or thyme, added natural antimicrobial and antioxidant effects, slowing oxidation and spoilage. Smoking was less common for milk products, but was sometimes applied in alpine regions to protect cheeses or dried curds. Smoke provided phenolic compounds, reducing mold growth and imparted flavor. Farmers also used herbal infusions or linings inside storage containers to naturally depress bacterial activity further. Despite ingenuity, milk preservation remained imperfect. contamination was a constant risk. Unwashed hands, shared utensils, and earthen or wooden containers could harbor pathogens. Poor hygiene could transform preservation attempts into food poisoning. Salt and cooling were precious resources, unevenly distributed. Peasants often lacked consistent access, causing food insecurity. Medieval records cite occasional dairy epidemics linked to poor milk handling. Monasteries' strict cleanliness routines were exceptional rather than universal. Yet the persistence of these preservation methods over centuries signals their overall effectiveness and critical role in survival. Beyond practicality, preservation was cultural. Dairy festivals marked seasonal harvests. Alpine Almabtriebs featured returning herds and cheeses celebrated with feasts. In monastic settings, cheesemaking became a spiritual symbol tied to sacraments or fasting periods. Salt and butter were sometimes gifts or taxation items, reflecting their economic importance. Dairy preservation knowledge was transmitted resistantly through oral tradition, apprenticeship, and communal cooperation. Modern refrigeration transformed food safety, but also disconnected people from food cycles. Medieval methods reveal sustainable alternatives rooted in ecology, microbiology, and resourcefulness. Natural fermentation aligns with probiotic health. Salting and natural cooling remain viable for off-grid food safety. Preserving food through transformation highlights the value of knowing your environment and materials intimately. Medieval people preserved milk through an elegant combination of natural processes and human ingenuity. Fermentation, cheesemaking, salting, and natural cooling extended milk's life, providing nutrition and cultural identity across seasons. Their wisdom challenges us to rethink preservation, beyond refrigeration, to embrace biocultural knowledge that nurtures health, sustainability, and resilience. This legacy of preservation echoes through history as a testament to human adaptation and respect for nature's rhythms.